You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Well, it's your boy Amel coming at you with another explosive episode of the Comic Crusaders Podcast. And today, we have a comic book dynamo in the house. He is a creator who has been blasting through genres and expectations with an independent publisher called Altruist Comics. Yeah, I just don't like it because it starts with Al. Don't even try to talk no smack, all right? So, from the gripping tales of crime pays to the feather-fueled power of the sensational swan. And now, pow! We have got Bullet Adventures numero uno speeding into our lives this fall. So, folks, buckle up. We are talking origin stories, comic book hustle, and what it takes to shoot straight into the indie comic book greatness with the one and only heavyweight of the independent comic game, Mr. Randy Stone, baby. How you doing?
Well, that was quite the intro. I appreciate that. I'm great, Al. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Thanks for coming on, brother. We're about to kick some butt and let them know what Altruist got going on, all these great books and all this great stuff that you're doing in the world, baby, of independent comics. So again, thank you and a big shout out to Don't Hide PR for coming, for hooking it up. Melissa doing her business. So if you're a creator out there that perhaps needs a push, if you will, and your project, Don't Hide PR is the place, man. Let me say it. They may be called Don't Hide, but make sure, they're definitely making sure you don't hide. You feel me? All right, so let's go with that. Randy, baby. Now, let's get to origin stories, because those are my favorite things in the whole world here, especially for the Crusader fans out in the house. Randy, I need to know where you're originally from, and the most important question you'll ever be asked in your whole life. What is the first thing in all of fandom that you ever fell in love with?
Well, I'm born and raised in the lower mainland of British Columbia, so that's outside of Vancouver, basically.
I'm sorry for what America's doing to you.
The tariffs have made things interesting, I suppose, but books haven't been affected too much, so that's all good.
Oh, really? Okay, thank goodness. Not the books, man.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, my start in comics, I watched Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends when I was little, and actually got into Marvel Comics with the Marvel Universe Trading Cards series back in
check you out.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was my gateway.
Let me ask you, how popular were those cards back in Canada, man? Because I'm a 90s man, obviously. My beard may not tell you that, but yes, I'm a 90s kid, and I was buying them cards up like a mother. How popular were they back in Canada?
I don't know mainstream how popular, but one of my good friends at the time, we went to 7-Eleven like weekly or whatever and picked up packs nonstop. We collected the series together, and
my man knew every cashier in 7-Eleven back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. Penny candies, Slurpees, and comics. So I fell in love with the characters from Marvel trading cards, and it just spiraled from there. I got into X-Men. That was the Jim Lee era, so
bro,
that was definitely what hooked me.
I want to give you a hug, man. I think you're the first one I ever said you got in through cards, especially through that era of cards. I have a whole box of cards over here, the first generation and the second issues, and then I got the Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, and Punisher sets in a box somewhere over here.
Yeah. I still have binders
bigger than 90s. Oh, I have a Spawn binder from the movie cards.
Yeah.
And the X-Men, the Jim Lee X-Men binder. I have the Serial Killer binder and the Gangsters binder, and the Frank Frazetta and Boris Vallejo binder.
Nice.
Okay. I got all those.
Yeah.
Those are my faves.
Yeah. So it hooked me on the comics through the characters. I just, I fell in love with Marvel because that was my intro, but they were so engaging. Just these colorful characters, their backstories, and all the little power sets on the back that show how strong or how fast they are.
I dig it. So, when you say you found it, though, was it all by yourself? Did you have influence, maybe? Was it cartoon, maybe your parents? Did you have siblings that maybe had a little something that teased you? Or it was just 7-Eleven?
Yeah, it was really just that friend and me. We started making comics ourselves. He was the writer, I was the artist at the time. You know, I could draw a little
Oh,
bit.
check you out.
Yeah, we make
Hey.
our own little stories of superheroes and, you know, action adventure, you know, stories of us as like investigators or whatever, like going on adventures throughout our town or whatever. So that was really it, and it just never stopped from there.
Oh, I dig that, man. So, talk about this now getting into the scene and you know, getting creative. Like, was this something that was pushed while you were growing up to be creative, or were you
No,
being
not at all.
fucking
No,
lawyer, accountant?
you know, my mom supported it. I think when I finished high school and I was going into university, I actually majored in fine arts. I could have gone into engineering or some sort of mathematics or something along those lines, but she didn't stop me from doing something that I was, you know, inspired to do as far as arts. That
That's
didn't lead
cool.
anywhere, obviously, aside from getting a degree. But you know, I
Yeah, I
learned a
mean,
few
listen,
things.
but we love the arts, but you know, listen, sometimes folks, you gotta be honest, man. You gotta know where in the arts you gotta make that paper. But I love that
Exactly.
at least your mama supported you in that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. So how did you navigate then? You know, doing the fine arts thing and stepping into this world.
They're totally separate. I mean, you know, there's an eye for design and whatnot, but comics and fine arts are totally different. And I didn't pursue becoming an artist per se, but I did
Okay.
try to break into the comic industry because that was the itch that was always there. I tried to get in
Wait,
as. Yeah, go
may
ahead.
I ask what year was this now when you're trying to break in? Because I want
Uh,
always people to place themselves in the era to understand how hard it is. Because again,
yeah,
you know, with the onset of internet, it has gotten easier. You
it
know,
was
but you know, I
exactly
want to.
around that time, turn of the century, like
He turn of the
well,
century. God damn, don't make me feel that old,
yeah,
bro.
the late 1900s. Yeah,
The late
um,
19. Jesus Christ. Yo, bro, I'm gonna be acting like Red Fox. Listen, protect me right now, bro. What are you talking about, bro?
yeah. So I was in university through 2000, early 2000s. That was kind of the dawn of the web forums. Penciljack.com. That was a big one, like spun out of the Wizard
Pencil
World
Jack.
forums. So a lot of
Holy
guys got their
shit,
starts there.
Wizard.
Robert Kirkman, Corey Walker, Tony Moore. We were all in those
Wow.
forums together, and you know, I saw the birth of The Walking Dead and Invincible through those groups. So it was a lot of
You
fun.
know way, bro. So you and dude, and look at this, folks. You see these forums?
Yeah,
They do matter. I mean, Reddit is nothing but a big ass forum. And again, it goes to show how those old tools still matter.
yeah, yeah. That was
Okay.
the long before Twitter kind of became the place where I'd find collaboration. We just meet online through that. We'd a bunch of us would connect in Chicago cons. So I got to meet a lot of those people. Actually, my first couple books were funded by selling a Walking Dead page that I bought from Tony way back when.
Oh,
Um,
really? Oh,
yeah,
my man knew where to invest, baby.
yeah. I would have got more than one page if that was the case. But yeah,
Yeah, well, yeah.
it was tough to give that up, but it was able to pay for those couple books, and that was pursuing my dream. And yeah,
Well, all I want to say is that based on your experience, I guess this is why you have all that stuff behind you right now. Because
yeah,
you have a
exactly.
crazy looking wall right now. I'm jealous. I mean, I got cutesy shit. You got some dope ass stuff back. Yo, hold on,
That
but
one
let
there,
me
that
put
is
this
the
on a.
Walking Dead page. I took a photocopy of it before I let it go.
Oh,
But
I hope you did. Let me see. Oh, look at
yeah,
that. Oh,
that's
right.
the one there.
Oh man, look at that. Yo, right. You ain't
The
playing
rest are
right
still
now.
originals, but that one I kept a copy of.
That's the Stone Cold collection, baby. I love it. I love it. All right, so let's talk about that. You know, Altruist Comics, the universe. What inspired you? Like, you know, talk about building this, all the stuff in this creative space that you came into. Like, how did that go about? Come about? I'm sorry.
Uh, I mean, it was just that desire to make the books. I had tried back in 2010-ish to put out a book. It got published by a smaller company and didn't make any money. Cost way more to produce it than I ever made. So I kind of gave up that dream for a while, and I, you know, got a
I
real
think
job.
that's the journey of most indie creators. The first project or two, unless you're like have a Midas,
Yeah,
you know. I mean, and you get lucky. I mean, most first two projects, I think most from what my experience of learning, indie projects lose. But then when it comes to that third, fourth, fifth, if you just have the tenacity to hold on, oh my god.
yeah, yeah. And at that point, I guess I couldn't, and I just got a real job, and I had a couple kids. Came back to it years later just because I always had that in the back of my head, like I want to do this, and I created a bunch of short stories.
May I ask though? You're saying, okay, you gave up, you worked, you built a family. Now, and then stepping into it after having family, was the family supportive of this, or was something you endeavored on yourself and didn't share with them until you thought it was ready?
Oh no, they're like my wife in particular. Like I've done Kickstarters and stuff, so during those campaigns, it's a month of just like complete busyness, and she's really stepped up to support that, knowing how it's important to me. So that worked out well. And the kids themselves, that they're almost 14 and 10 now, so a lot of it has actually been, a fun interaction with them.
And that also means they have employees for the cons.
They've definitely prepared shipping boxes and bagging boards for me and stuff like that at times.
Yeah, so, the cool. Stone family, baby, bringing it rock hard to the world, baby. I ain't playing, bro. I love this. The Stoneverse, full play, is a family affair. Exactly. I'm digging it. That's what it is.
We've collaborated a bit, honestly. There was a few pages where I had them putting their thumbprints in the ink and kind of like texturing some of the backgrounds, and
that's awesome.
Some story ideas I kind of swiped from them as well.
Are they fans themselves?
They read a few things from the library. They don't really get into comics, the monthly sort of superhero thing, but
not yet.
They'll read comics, yeah.
It'll happen. I'll get to my little one. Not so little. She's 24 now.
Okay.
But I got her into the monthlies, and then all of a sudden, I'm not where she's at right now. So I buy her monthlies and ship it to her. Yeah. And it was funny when I said, "Hey, I got your stuff." She goes, "Did you happen to include the DC Archie? I mean, the DC mashup with Sonic?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, of course. Who the hell does that? Dynamite, right? Is it? I forgot who the hell does it."
Yeah.
So anyway, who cares right now? I forgot.
IDW, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. IDW. Yes, thank you, bro. High five. So thanks for the save. So IDW, and I wasn't aware of this because and that's not the type of stuff I do follow. Yeah. But I did get it because my comic shop is so good, and just I haven't asked for something like that, and for me to say, "Oh, your daddy's up, baby. Don't you worry." Although now I was an admission and I wasn't. But I had them. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I just see her now enjoying books, whereas before she really wasn't. Exactly. So I think it's just more exposure. They'll get into it. Physical media is something that's important, and we're seeing it. Like this fights about it, right? Somebody said that just because you buy it when it comes to digital media doesn't mean you own it. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
When I buy a comic book, I own it. It's in my collection. I see it. Exactly. What do you mean if I buy digital, I don't own it? It's a lease?
Yeah.
See, so that's the stuff that scares me about it. So I think, thankful creators like you, you also create physical media, thank God. Now, talk about Altruist though, and those first projects like Crime Pays, right? An anthology born out of noir love, therapy, or was just a need to tell some gritty tales? Like, where did it come from?
You know what? I want to do genre books, like a collection of horror stories and a collection of romance or something. Like, it would be kind of cool to do that. But crime was the most natural one. Actually, in my day job, I deal with police files, so I'm well versed in a lot of stuff going on. It was kind of an interesting way I could work with other creators, because that was 16 different short stories by different creative teams.
16, Jesus.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. You see a lot of different stuff in there, different art styles, different approaches to the crime genre. But yeah, it was just a matter of putting out a book that I thought was worthwhile. And that one actually contained a lot of first-time publications from a lot of the creators in there. So I gave
you were popping cherries. Hey, you should have called it Cherry Popper Comics then. Altruist making these creators known. I love it. Wow, but that's 16 stories. How hefty was that project?
88 pages.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a nice little bookshelf type of
shelf porn. Yeah, I call it shelf porn. When you can see that spine, that is shelf porn. Things you can show off, like, when people can see, like, what is that? Yeah, it's right there. Look at this. You pull it out. Yeah, very freshly, sexy. I love it. All right, so then you had the sensational Swan, right?
Yeah. So that was a character that spun out of Death in Comics, which was another anthology I did where I wrote all those stories. Swan.
But you did your own anthology. How many? Yeah. How many? What was the name of that book? And how many stories?
Death and Comics. trying to think of how many was in there. Maybe like 8 overall.
So
It was only
eight different stories. Do you do
it
that
was
to
a
yourself?
24
To
or 28
torture
pages.
yourself?
Structure. Well, it's things I'd done over the couple years leading up to my return to comics, actually.
Okay.
So I didn't jump into a major project at that point. I was just doing these shorts. So it's a few 3-pagers. There was a 1-pager in there. Some of the larger ones were 5 or 6 pages. But, just having these ideas and being able to put that story to life without breaking the bank. Paying an artist for 5 pages is not so bad.
Okay.
Kind of those little bites I could do. And then I had enough of them that all kind of fell under the theme where they touched on death in some way, and made sense to collect them into one book. So that was my first self-published book was actually Death in Comics.
That was your first.
Yeah.
All right. So what year did you publish that, and what kind of challenges did you face and overcome while that being your first project?
Well, making comics and producing them are totally different. Like, so having to deal with a printer for the very first time, that was something I never really knew how to do before. Specifications that they require in order to get a print file.
Got so you were talking about this you learning a whole new language.
Yeah, exactly. Because I've been doing, pencil on paper since I was a little kid, but when you're actually producing a file that you have to find a printer that can produce the books that you want with the proper quality, or a saddle stitched job compared to what the local printers might be able to provide or not provide. So yeah, it was a bit of research and experience learning there. I'm just kind of wearing new hats. Then it's a matter of getting it out to readers, because obviously I don't have a huge circle of people who would buy my books when I'm a complete unknown. So just slowly but surely growing that audience and going to local conventions and stuff, and actually having something I could give to people.
So talking about that, because again, I like this conversation like this, especially with this being convention season, and there's possibly a whole world of new indie creators out there thinking about doing their first show this year. When did you know you were ready for your first show?
Well, I probably jumped into it too soon. I paid for a table.
Honesty, baby, love it. Let's go.
Yeah, my table for the weekend was like $400, and I had one book to put out, and I sold probably $200 worth of it over the weekend. So
you
that
only
was
had the one
experience.
book. Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely not one book.
Yeah, it would help. Unless you're a great salesperson that could move inventory very quickly, but that's not me. So by the time I went to my next one, that was right before COVID, I think. So coming out of COVID, I had several issues of things I could put out. So it was a little bit easier there.
So once you had the learning from that, the next time, once you had several issues, you did way better, I'm to assume.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But
and then I actually reached a point where I started getting tables comped to me at some larger shows. They're local.
Hey!
But, still bigger audience.
My man going like this. Yeah, baby. Yeah, bring it, baby. Yeah. The Stoneverse, that's right. Walking with that swag. Did you have a feather hat when you were walking down the aisle with the kids pushing the inventory? Man, I love it. See, these are the type of stories that we want to hear, folks. Of creators is getting their work done. I want to tease a little bit, because it was a Kickstarter, right? Bullet Adventures 1, 2, 3, the Speedy Superhero Series. Just saw a little bit of art, and I got a PowerPoint too. But this was back in February of this year. I mean, people brought this big bit of life. But I mean, look at this book, baby. It's sexy. Look at that art. Talk about this team you bought. What I see is Jordan, Nicholas, Francesca, Lucas, and Laura with covers. I mean, talk about this. Talk about the promancers and building a team to make these stories of yours come to life.
Yeah, so I've got the actual the one shot available, and I know I shared a link with you if you want to share that with your viewers. But it all sprung out of this original one shot, which is a Silver Age story.
That one right there, you mean? Exactly. That link right there? Oh my gosh, folks! There you go, a free read, folks.
There you go. Yeah, it's 40 pages. It's set in the 1960s, where this college kid gains powers, falls in love, and saves the world. So it's a lot of fun. It's kind of a throwback to classic superhero stories. Jordan and I really enjoyed collaborating, and I found a way to reintroduce the hero to an ongoing series, and that's Bullet Adventures. So we're hitting this fall comic shops. We're in the pre-order phase with local comic stores. Basically, there's some time travel involved, and we're continuing his adventures, pulling him out of the Silver Age, and there's a bit of de-aging process, so we can have all new stories featuring this hero.
I'm digging. I mean, who is this? Yeah. But yeah, listen, I'm dying to see this already in cosplay. I'll probably be seeing this real
That would
soon.
be a dream come true. That's the one thing
Look
I've
at
said
this.
as well. I want to see somebody cosplay as this villain Cupid. He appears in
I had
this
to be a
game.
villain. Almego just loves his villains. So of course I like the villain. The coolest.
Yeah.
I thought, yo, this looks so badass. All right, so tell me the story. Cupid.
So it's a bit of maybe a spoiler how we get to number 3 because I'm trying to push
Okay.
number 1 so far.
Oh, all
But,
right, all right. But right now we got this story right here. I mean, look a little bit. Oh wow.
yeah, so we got
Wow.
backup stories running through the Bullet Adventures ongoing. That was another area that I could feature some newer creators, similar
Oh,
to
dope.
Crampes, like I talked about, giving a platform to some emerging artists and writers, and basically filling out our book with even more content that is just awesome work.
I dig. Yo, a salute to you, man. Thinking about creators first as a creator. I think that's so important, man. We gotta show love, of course, as a community.
Yeah.
It takes a village, man, and for you to be able to do that and allow so many people to be involved in this project. Wow, that's dope. I mean, and look at this beautiful book right here. Wepa, look at that, man. Woo! I'm
It's
telling
pretty
you.
iconic. Laura Kane is the interior artist here, and she did that one of Bullet racing up the building. She's got just a great style as well.
That's
Just this
fire, man.
iconic.
Who did this one though? Because see, this is what I'm telling. I was telling somebody, I'm missing this type of style of comic book cover.
Yeah.
With the word bubble, there's a big action scene. There's a little square in the corner like this. It's
Yeah.
just, I don't know. It feels more comic book. It's nowadays everything's about just the iconic pose and the variant cover. What this? Thank you, bro. This is again why I am a fan of indie. Like we have an old school appeal or feel to it, and I love the shit out this cover.
Yeah.
Who did
It's
this?
basically also the artwork was by Nico Carrizo, and
I love
Fran
it.
Citarelli did the colors. So yeah, I pulled in that old school. It's basically ripped straight from my childhood.
So yeah,
Thought bubble on a cover. The
yeah, man.
text there. I really wanted to just seem like something that I would pick up as a kid. We're not aiming specifically at children. It's a T plus rating just based on how Lunar's
Yeah,
criteria
not
is.
yeah, not meaning anything by that, but I'm just saying that covers like this is get it. It just it helps because it will help a kid get that book from their parent when their parent looks at it. Oh man, it reminds me when I was a kid. Sure,
Yeah.
why not? Because it has that appeal that for both. I mean, not to take anything away from this because this is a gorgeous cover, but if that's my choice right there. I want this one.
Exactly.
They're both fire, but I want this one so bad. That's so dope. But this is gorgeous too because I love the motion. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah,
showing
so
who
he's a
the character is.
speed-based
Like, yo,
powers. So
yeah,
seeing him in motion
well
is
displayed.
ideal, right? Yeah.
Very very anime-ish, dope. And then seeing this interiors, these colors pop, the panel work. Who's your letterer?
Lucas Catoni. So I was lucky enough to collaborate with him years ago on a project, and he stayed on for Bullet. And it's just been a joy to work with him. He's probably one of the, I'd say top 3, but if I'm being conservative, top 10 letters in the industry.
I
And
mean,
he's all over
basically
DC
everything.
Comics right now. He's done a bunch of Superman titles, Harley Quinn. There was a Flash story where he actually integrated some of his style that he developed on Bullet into Flash.
Oh, what?
So it's kind of
What?
we came first into
Check
that.
you out. A
Yeah.
little piece of the Stoneverse within DC, then.
Exactly. Yeah, he's wonderful to work with. Every time I email him, it's just it's a delight. He's such a great person, as well as his lettering is top notch. And I've had a great time with all the collaborators. Jordan in particular, we go back and forth creating these stories, and it's just I have fun doing it, and I think that's the driving force behind this whole project. Is just I'm enjoying it, and I want other people to enjoy it as well.
Was my man over here inspired by anyone? I feel like it was for some odd reason.
The character itself?
Yeah, because the way it looks and all, and just that, it feels like it came off a picture or something to me.
Well, I can't speak to Laura, but the inspiration I had and some of the direction I had in his design originally was Ernie Combs, And you probably have no idea who that is. As a Canadian, there was a TV show called Mr. Dress Up when I was growing up.
Okay.
Basically, kids show, there's a couple puppets, and he would do crafts or whatever.
So what, Canadian Mr. Rogers, if you will?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
But yeah, I grew up on that. That's like my very early childhood, and that was something that I said, like, hey, this kind of look, and that's probably showing through a little bit.
But, that's cool. A little homage to something that messed up. But hey, man.
But again, it's all my childhood.
Thank you for teaching me about that. I gotta learn about that one too. I'm always curious about that, how we all grew up, and just to see what type of stuff they said, because our minds were young and being molded, and other than molded and less controlled, because I try not to watch dumb shit. I see how the world is. It's wild, man. I'm enjoying the ride while we're still here. Come on, aliens, where you at? Anunnaki. But look at this panel work here too, and for me, it's such an old school feel of a page.
Exactly.
So many word bubbles and placement. Like, was that intentional?
Yeah, I mean, I straddle between saying it's an old school approach to new comics, but it's also a new approach to old comics in a way. Yeah, we just have that real classic mentality, but we're trying to do something new with it. Obviously, artwork is very classic, but you see some of the effects, like that first panel you're showing right now, that time warp effect is just, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, it takes me back to those old school, sci-fi comics when I was growing up that I would buy for 25 cents from the 60s and shit. Yeah. And just opening those up, and then I'm saying this. You're giving me flashbacks. I'm already a fan right now. I gotta get this. I can't wait to see you at the con and just be able to stack up, and not have to pay Spammer for shipping, unless you got deals on shipping, baby.
Well, that's the beauty of our distribution. We're actually going to be in comic shops, and Kickstarter is wonderful. I'm so thankful for all the supporters I've had on Kickstarters in the past. But having to pay, expecting people to pay $20 or $30 on shipping a single issue is just ridiculous, especially coming from Canada. It just adds up so quickly. But people around the world, like I've got backers from Australia, Europe, all over the world. But here I can actually say, just go to your comic shop, buy a well, hopefully they pre-order it first, because otherwise the store
So may I ask you something? Saying, okay, really over the comic shop, and I think a lot of folks know about the problems that are happening within comic book distribution nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't seen it really hit hard just yet. Except maybe a few that are starting to what's going on here. Has that affected you in any way? How did you have to navigate it?
So out of the Diamond bankruptcy, Massive Publishing introduced Massive Indies, and that
you went Massive Indies. Yes. Yeah. Awesome. Yes, I got that, and I shared that on Comic Crusaders. Yes.
Yeah. So that is incredible of them, Michael and the group there, being able to give that opportunity for all these small press people to find that distribution, because they were out of luck as soon as Diamond tanked there. So yeah, this it's my first widespread distribution to comic stores, and thanks to Massive Indies, but it'll be available there, for the first time in most of these stores.
Yeah, baby, you hear this? It's amazing. I cannot wait. Now, doing that with the Massive Indies, this distribution term, having this dope book coming out, having this in shops now, what's the biggest lesson you've learned now? It's from the beginning to right now.
It's just one more thing that I've tackled as far as scheduling, learning where the FOC has to be 5 weeks ahead of the on-shelf date, and, scheduling that with a printer and stuff. So it's going to be another learning curve. So far it has.
Okay.
But they've walked me through it a little bit, so that's nice. But yeah, it's super exciting. What I found is that in Canada, a lot of stores have not moved to Lunar yet.
Okay.
There's another one called the Universal Distribution that a lot of stores locally get their books from. So unfortunately, I'm not in that. So I'm trying to drive all the people I know locally, and they have limited options on the stores they can actually go.
There's so many. That's the whole thing with the Diamond Dissolution and these problems. Now we have a whole host, with the Massive Indies. That's great. We, Universal, Lunar, Penguin, Filbo.
Yeah.
There's some other ones that are trying to get their work out there. I forget their names. But it's like, how do you decide? How do you know which is best for you? You know,
Right.
I see football those having some big. They just landed. I got a press release today. They just landed heavy metal. I know
Yeah.
that's cool. Nice, nice. Yeah, my man is doing it. He's standing some good labels. So let's see what happens with any distribution. Those are the folks I'm concerned about because I'm hearing horror stories. I've been
Right.
hearing people losing over 100 racks in
Crazy.
inventory. Yo, how, bro? Again, as an indie creator, this is not kosher.
No,
Any
it'd be
level,
devastating. Yeah.
you know. I'm not digging it. Now, you've tackled anthologies, heroes, crime drama. Like, what's the next genre you're hitting, baby? Like, well, what are we doing? What is the Stoneverse getting into next? Man? What is the next, like dimensional work we getting into with, baby?
Yeah. Well, I'm putting a lot into Bullet Adventures. We've got several issues in the can, so really try to hit this and make it a ongoing monthly thing, and hopefully
I'm
build an
going
audience.
monthly. Nice. When
Oh
you
yeah.
say several issues in the clan, how
Yeah.
how ahead are we? So people are confident,
Yeah.
that the story they're getting this story done.
We're working on number 8 right now, so
Oh,
several.
damn.
Yeah. We've got a lot of runway. There'll be the trade paperbacks, obviously, throughout. Basically, once 8's done, that'll be 2 volumes worth, with the one shot
Oh,
included.
dope.
One of the Yeah, so we've got a lot of time. People can be confident that it'll come out every single month. They'll be there. We just need to build up that audience and get comic shops on board carrying it.
Amazing, but you're not playing, but Altruist is here to stay. But are you making any Comic-Con appearances this year or what? What's popping?
Yeah. I've done a couple local shows. I don't typically travel for any.
All right.
I don't find that I make enough money on the table to actually pay for a flight and hotel. So
Not just yet.
local. Yeah, yeah.
Not just yet, because you know what it is. Are there any good streaming networks in Canada? I don't know. You got to teach me here because if you have a streaming network in Canada, you got to sell them Bullet Adventures. They need a noir show, and then when Americans see this dope show coming from Canada, outside, they're gonna be, oh shit.
They'll fly me
Stop
out.
beefing with Canada. Yeah, they'll fly you out. They'll bring you in. Stop beefing with Canada. We got dope. The Stoneverse is real. I mean, what up? I mean, would you want to see this as a TV show or like a cartoon, live action? Like, what would you want to
Honestly,
see
a
this as?
cartoon would be amazing. Again, just my childhood growing up Saturday morning television, like we'd watch cartoons, and I could really see this as a cartoon. The last 2 minutes would be one of those like the more you know kind of thing, a little lesson learned like He-Man or G.I. Joe had.
Oh man, the more you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
man,
I'd love to see it. I'd love to
bro,
see
do that.
trading cards. I mean, I've produced some trading cards myself, but like a larger set. Action figures would be incredible. But I'm really focused on making this the best comic it can possibly be. So everything
I
else
dig.
comes after.
I dig it. So right now, how many issues are out? You said right.
So I've done
Overall,
7 through
7
Kickstarters.
overall.
Yeah, so they're all out. Obviously, a smaller audience, and this is widespread. Like starting from number 1 for a new audience. The first issue actually contains. Funny you happen to click to that backup story that wasn't in the Kickstarter. So this is a short swan story that I've included.
Nice.
Luana
Good.
Vecchio is actually the artist of this, and she went on to become a huge name in comics. She has. Now my mind is drawing a blank on the title of her Image comic she did. Shoot.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can't remember right
There it is.
now. I'm in love with that bottom 2 panels. Oh
Yeah.
my god!
Okay, I got to look this up because I'm losing it here.
That's what happens with people our age.
Okay, Lovesick. That's the title of her book.
Lovesick.
It's her Image Comics, yeah.
Okay.
So she won the Russ Manning Award for most promising newcomer a few years back, and that was after she had worked on this short story. So I thought, let's include this, bring a brand new audience to this story, and bulk up the first issue and add value to all the readers who pick up number 1.
Beautiful colors on this art, and again, it's that bottom page. Holy smokes, bro! Yeah. That is so great looking. That, and it's the coloring, everything. And who's the letterer on this?
I actually lettered this one myself.
Where? Oh, he said, wait a minute. Yeah. I see, huge difference. and still great. Not saying anything indifferent, from what other homie did. It's just great work. Again, I like to appreciate everything on the page. It's
Yeah.
colors, the line work, it's the coloring, it's everything. Listen, it takes a village to create these comics, man. I want to appreciate every team member, and good job on the lettering. I love the placement. The story of the art, the wonderful. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, kiddo, look at you, man. My man is murdering it. So, Bullet Adventures, man. This baby is available now. You get over here. You say it's a 40-page free read of the book,
Yeah.
right there, right? 40.
Yeah. And it only gets better from there. I can honestly say, since we've completed so many of the issues already, every single issue outdoes the last one. It's just nonstop improvement from the team, and yeah, people are gonna love it.
So I got two more questions for you here.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Two more. What's your advice for creators that are trying to turn their wild comic ideas, right, into published reality?
Yeah, Kickstarter is probably your best bet. I know it's an option just to raise those funds. I personally always complete the project before I put it out there, just because it's backer confidence. I want people to know that it will come out. So many people have been burned by projects on Kickstarter and other crowdfunders. So yeah,
I'm a victim. I should do Kickstarter Victims podcast or some shit because Rob Liefeld, I've been waiting 15 years for my book.
Exactly. So yeah, I like to do that. If you can draw and write and produce the whole thing yourself, then that's great. It doesn't take any capital, but if you do need to hire people that will obviously elevate the quality of your book, like I do.
Yes.
Kickstarter helps. So I think that's probably an avenue a lot of people should take and explore that.
You hear that? Kickstarter and have a finished book project. Key and that's development. Now, if Bullet Adventures could cross over with any other indie book, this is manifested fantasize here, right? Because of it, which world would you love to see this cross into, if even just for a day?
So it's got to be indie?
Doesn't have to be indie. Anything.
So you know what? I'll put this out there for Jordan's benefit. He's the co-writer and co-creator of the book. He's a huge Sonic fan, and Sonic's a speedster as well. And I think that somewhere down the road, it would be amazing if we got to a point where we could cross over with that, even if it's just a dream within the story or something that they're meeting up with Sonic. I think that would be pretty cool. And I know that Jordan would just have a blast at that. So
you know what? I love that idea, Randy, and I think that's blasted into an IDW. You guys gotta work, but not just big brands. But listen, when you see these indie guys, hey, this is a great way to help them, and then wind up helping you, give them some work. You know what I mean? Let's make it happen. I actually like that idea, bro. I mean, seeing for me, I never really thought about it, but to see Sonic next to the Flash. I was like, yo, this is pretty cool. But now, probably see you next to Bullet over here, I'll probably be some dope shit over here. Let's make it happen, Randy.
Someday.
Let's manifest. How, baby? Let's do it. Now, dude, I know I said two questions. So I got to ask one more.
Yeah.
I got to ask one more about it's just keeping the energy, right? When you create, right, what zone do you get into? Like, what makes you get into your zone, rather? Like, when you sit down, is there music? Is there a meal? Like Wade Boggs eating chicken? You listen to Metallica? Are you listen to Mozart? Do you smoke an L? Or do you
don't listen to
close
music.
your door?
It's weird. If I'm doing artwork, I can probably put some music on, and I don't mind that. I kind of have that in the background, or maybe a podcast, but typically not. But if I'm writing or whatever, I can't have music on even. It's just pure silence for me. It's weird. I don't know if it's just a distraction. I can't focus with that. I get too into the music maybe, but yeah, it's in silence.
So I wonder if that's whether some silence is golden, because within silence you find that. All right, but maybe that gold, baby. All right, there we go. Randy, you are amazing. Folks, listen, my man is very humble. He's like, I need to look at me big, but if you're gonna look for him on social, you're always gonna look for him at Altruist Comics. It's Altruist Comics, okay? And then most importantly, I know for you guys that love them freebies, if you want a taste of the universe that my man is building, listen, you go right here to altruistcomics.com/bullet download. I'm gonna add that link too in the show notes because it's a free read, baby. And 40 pages of comic book greatness. Indie. It's gonna listen. After that, you're gonna be going like this. You're gonna be a fan of the Stoneverse. You're gonna be mailing IDW to see this Sonic connection happen. Everything's gonna pop off. You're gonna see a cartoon pop off in Canada. It's gonna come over to the States. I see it. If you listen, Iyanu did it through Ryan Forge, and I think you could do it too, brother. I mean, why not? This is the day and age, independent freedom creators like you. The level, the playing field has been leveled, with the technology that are our hands right now. So
exactly,
you could even create just proof of concept shit for free right now, just to show people like this is what I'm trying to tell you. Now let's go.
Yeah.
Make it happen, Randy. This is what I want to see. I am digging it, bro. All right. Any last words, Randy? You let them know. Any appearances, anything that the people need to know before we go.
The only thing is, I hope you enjoy that 40-page one-shot. And as soon as you finish reading it, call up your local comic shop, ask them to pre-order Bullet Adventures #1, and we'll see you in that first issue and every issue from beyond.
Oh, from beyond and more, right? Speeding into your LCS and into your collectible boxes, baby, but not before you read it and fall in love with what my man is bringing to the game with Altruist Comics. Yeah, you're going to be feeling heroic, bringing back some classic comic book storytelling into the game. That classic feel, that good look, beautiful art. You've seen that team. You've seen that artwork. Do I have to convince you any further? Do I have to throw that preview into my show notes on the website too? I shouldn't have to convince you that much, man. It's a beautiful book. It's Randy Stone. It is Altruist. I mean, indie comics at their best, baby. Right? And I know y'all folks complaining about the big two. About one of the big two a lot more than the other lately. But this is why. But Altruist is gonna be one of the new big two. If you could move over one of the big two, which one would you rather move over, Marvel or DC?
I don't know. I've got a long-standing love for Marvel comics. We can leave them up there. I don't have anything against DC, but I just never fell for that stuff.
Oh, there you go. The new big two is going to be Marvel and Altruist. All right? Let's go make it happen. Yo, Randy, again, thank you so much for your time. Big salute to you and the fam. To your staff.
We'll get raises if this does well.
There we go, yo. But you make sure you check out for real what Randy's doing. It's a beautiful book. I showed you the links below. I'll put everything, guys. Please check it out. Support independent comics all the time because these creators are the future of this beautiful industry that we love. So make sure you show the love. And with that, please also support Comic Crusaders. Visit us at comiccrusaders.shop. You can also check us out on Good Pods, the Comic Crusaders Podcast. We're #1 for crowdfunding. #2 for independent publishing, #3 like all time for indie crowdfunding publishing. They got weird standings, but it's like okay, 13 for tech. Like yeah, baby, we're here. We're supporting indie though, and that's my key point, baby. So let's make it happen. Mega Stone, hasta la próxima, mi gente. Wepa! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.